Welcome back to another one of our Gettin Techy with SaaS Alerts. And in this episode, we are going to be talking about IOCs, something that we added not too long ago, but there's always been some questions that pop up every now and then about them. So I figured I would try to address all of them at once. And I'm going to start by showing you how to use them. So there's a couple of different ways that you can use IOCs. In the past, we would have respond rules, but they would be set to, you had the option to set them to alert only. So we decided that instead of just only allowing respond rules to be alert only for products that we support, that we would expand it and create an IOCs module that would allow you to create alert only events for other products that may not, be supported with respond. And that's really opened up the door to do a lot of really cool things with IOCs and respond at the same time. So for instance, if you had you wanted to monitor something in Dropbox and then it take an action in Datto EDR or in Microsoft, you can now do that. And one of the easiest ways to do that is with IOCs. And I'm going to show you a little bit about that. Let's go ahead and jump in, and enough of me talking. Let's go ahead and click on IOCs. And before we go too far, I want to point out that we do have community templates as well. So if you're trying to figure out how to get started with IOCs, this is a great place to head up. We click this, and right now there's only about 6 of them in there, but expect this to grow over time. Maybe even by the time you watch this video, there'll be more. One of the ones that I'm really proud of is this authentication from unknown device that I'll help you create as well. To add any of these to your environment, it's just like respond. We click on this little duplicate button and it adds it to your environment. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that once you create an IOC, you cannot remove it. You can archive it, which effectively just turns it off and shuffles it away so you don't have to really look at it. You can also set ones to draft mode in case you're working on it, not quite ready to have it go into full time. So let's do this. We have a couple of them that are already here. We also have probably a couple of that are in archives. So if you ever need to restore them, you can unarchive them, you can view them. Let's take a look at the one that I really like a bunch. So if we click on this duplicate for authentication from unknown devices, let's hit create. So it will duplicate it into your environment. So let's do this. Let's change the name, and we're just going to remove that duplicate from there. Now we select our products that we want to apply this IOC to. And for now, I'm just going to unselect all of them and just hit Microsoft for now. We do have a couple other products that you can apply IOCs to. So you can build IOCs that apply to any number of products that are in your environment. Next up, we do go to our organizations and account. This is required, so we're going to go ahead and check both of these. You can also do the same thing with respond. You can have these run for all organizations except for certain ones, or you can uncheck this and only select certain organizations. But since these are usually just alert only, it's probably not going to hurt too much to have these just in case. If we go to conditions, you'll recognize this screen too. It's very similar to respond, same kind of things. This allows you to essentially create and craft your own events based off of either one particular event that's already in our system, or maybe that event with other filters, other variables, or multiple events. So in this one, what we're doing is we're looking for authentication from unknown devices. And so we picked our 4 different authentication alerts, but we also added some things around that. We said, you know what, is this an Entra, does there an Entra ID being accompanied with these events? If not, then that's a little suspicious, probably means that our device is not registered in our Entra. Also, but beyond that, let's take a look. Is it in Unified? Is it in our RMM? No, it's not in our RMM. It's an unmanaged unknown device, or it's possibly an organization that doesn't even have Unified connected to it. So if it passes, so far we're checking this box, and then lastly, is it a mobile device? Well, no, it is not a mobile device. So all of these ring true, then that's going to generate this IOC, and what's going to happen is it's just going to trigger and alert you. It's going to say, hey, I noticed this. This is suspicious. Maybe teamed up with other alerts. It may be, worth taking an action on, which I'll show you that really quickly in a little bit on how you can combine these IOCs. You can have multiple IOCs in the same respond rule, or multiple IOCs, I think, in the same IOC. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure we can actually add other IOCs to this too. So you can kind of stack them a little bit. You can see where you get really creative with this. So moving on, we have summary, which again, very similar to respond. It just gives you an idea as far as what it's going to be doing in just some text here. And this is where things are going to get really super interesting. By itself, this may not be enough for you to generate an alert. Remember, medium and critical are going to create items in your PSA or send you an email. So we're going to leave this at a low. Maybe by itself, I don't want to be alerted. Maybe combined with other IOCs, I do, but by itself, not so much. Doesn't mean you can't come in here and see them when they do trigger, though. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down and show you the really cool part, and we're going to really dive deep into this in a little bit. If we scroll down, we can configure the IOC event. So say I wanted this particular event to have a certain name. Well, in this template, what we did is we can click on this little pencil icon, and what we have done is we have called this an IAM event, authentication from an unknown device. This is all customizable. You can call it whatever you want to, and that allows you to create custom events that go beyond just what you have access to under the settings and events. So that's very, very cool. Another thing that is going to knock your socks off is check out all these short codes at the top here. So these are all different things that we're pulling from the original events that you specified, but we can add them to the event description. So say you wanted to say authentication from an unknown device, and if I can get the operating system, I'm going to say operating system. So we're going to say, okay, well, authentication from an unknown device, Windows 10. A little dash in there, make it pretty. Not too bad, right? That's pretty cool. Beyond that, we can pull the shortcodes from other events too. We did specify 4 of them, so there's 4 different authentication events. There might be a shortcode that exists in one that doesn't exist in another. With authentication events, they're pretty similar. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And next, I want to show you one of the most powerful parts that you guys are absolutely going to love, event description detail. So this is the small little text that's typically, if you look under analysis, you'll see the big text that'll say IAM event authentication success. Well, in our instance, it's going to be IAM event authentication from unknown device. But below that is that small little text, which we typically add filters to. Some people say, I want to filter if it's from a particular user, and up until now, you can't really do that very easily. You could go into respond and specify which users you want to monitor, but if you wanted to do something a little bit more dynamic where you didn't have to add all those users, it was kind of difficult to do. Well, not anymore. You have your event description detail here. We've added a little bit of extra text in here. You have a ton of room to work with. You can also, I formatted it a little differently. I said unify status. What is it? Well, it's an org without a device. Cool. User agent, and I wanted to go ahead and display that too. But you could even take this a step farther and give a special message to your team. So when this triggers, execute runbook 1 alpha. Something like that. Something gives you a special message, or contact tier 2 support. Very cool, right? But if I wanted to trigger this off of maybe like a specific user or something, maybe it's a filter that I don't really have access to with respond. If it exists in here, then we can filter off of it, because we can filter off of event description details. So anything you put in here, we can create a filter around it in like respond or another IOC. So check this out. If I scroll down here, user name is an option for me. So I can say, you know what, I want to, let's see, instead of this, I want to do the email address. I'm going to be like, I want to add email, and then I'm going to add the shortcode. All right, so now that we have that set up, let's go ahead and save this. And now I'm going to show you one of the really cool parts of this. I'm going to go ahead and activate this. Also, if you come up with one that's like really super cool and you want to submit it to have it in our community templates, you can also click on this publish button as well, and it will send it off to our system. We'll evaluate it, and if it's awesome, we will go ahead and put it in our community for everybody else to take advantage of it too. All right, so this one's saying IOC. Okay, well, this one basically says we already have one that exists. I'm going to put bin. It's quite a popular one. All right, so now we have that configured. What we can do is we can keep making them all day long to our heart's content, anything that you can imagine. I want you to just keep in mind that you can just hit up our analysis, and any of the events that are in there and you want to create an IOC about it, feel free. Think of them as just like little quick ways to set a bunch of different variables to use and respond, or just to get an alert on by itself. And keep in mind, you can also stack them too. So a bigger, maybe a medium IOC could be this IOC and this IOC together. That's a little bit more important. So something to keep in mind. I want to show you one of the really cool, awesome features of this. Let's go ahead and go under respond and go to rules. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new rule. And I'm going to say, I'm going to call this, let's see, mailbox rule created from unknown device. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go to my events. I'm going to go ahead and check Microsoft, and I'm going to go to organizations, check this and this. And now one thing that you can do from here is maybe I want to know if somebody creates a mailbox device immediately after authenticating from an unknown device that I've never seen before. Not too difficult to do. All we have to do is say, you know what, IOC, and I'm going to say unknown just to find it a little easier. So the reason that mine isn't showing up here is that it takes about 15 minutes for the IOC to show up and respond. So when you create it, just keep in mind it's going to take a little bit of time for the cache to empty out and for it to show in here. Sometimes refreshing will make it show up a little bit quicker, but if you don't see it immediately, just have a little bit of patience. It'll pop in. For now, I'm going to use the one that I was conflicting with, the unknown device. I'm going to go ahead and click on this guy. So now I want you to think, instead of me having to recreate all of those filters and everything, it's already done inside of this one event. So I could take this one IOC and put it on any number of rules, and it saves me time because I don't have to recreate all the filters. So if you have an event that has like 6 to 10 to 20 different filters attached to it, make it an IOC and make it its own event. That way you can add it to whatever rule you want to. So I'm going to add this one, and then I'm going to be like, you know what, and mailbox rule created. Back and spit it. Mailbox rule enabled. There we go. And we'll say within, let's just do like an hour or something. So what will happen, someone authenticates from an unknown device. Normally a low priority event, we really don't care about it. Then within the next hour, they create a mailbox forwarding rule. Well, that's a little suspicious. We can also add additional filters to this. Maybe I want to know if the inbox rule is coming from an IP address that's a known threat or something. That's a possibility. But honestly, I like to leave it with a little bit of wiggle room. And that's because I don't want to narrow down and make the bucket for this threat actor to go into so small that there's a possibility he'll just do something that's a little different, maybe come from an IP address that is actually legitimate. So I'm going to leave it alone. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and add this, and I'm going to do the rule again. Boom. And yep, here we go. So now we have set up a very, very simple rule, but underneath the IOC hood right here, we have a whole lot of other filters that are already set up, a whole bunch of things. Otherwise, you would have to basically come in here and add all 4 of these events, recreate the filters, and do that every single time you wanted to combine the unknown device into a respond rule. So you can see how this can be very, very powerful. So that pretty much really describes a lot of the things that I wanted to show you on this. Again, respond rules by themselves cannot take any actions, but they can be added into a respond rule. Beyond that, the only thing I really want to show you here is you can set up custom notifications for these the same way that you do respond. So if you wanted to set them to a medium or a critical, and you wanted to get some information as well when they trigger, you can specify these. Or if you wanted to, you could also say I wanted to know when these guys triggered. Maybe I want just to, maybe I set them to low and I don't want to get a PID ticket. So you can come in here and say, all right, well, I am going to search for that unknown rule. And if you click on this little this button right here where it says last 7 days triggered, it's very similar to responds. We click on this guy and it's going to do a search. And very similar to respond, you have, this is when the event triggered, but this isn't all the information that you need, right? Right here is where you see the view IOC trigger details. What triggered this event? So if I click on this guy, very similar to respond, I'm going to see all of the events that caused this guy to trigger. In my case, as an authentication to this account from a device that has no RMM, and I also did not get an Entra ID sent at the same time. So maybe something to look into, maybe not so much. Depends on what I did afterwards, I suppose. All right, well, if you guys have any questions at all, please reach out to us. We have an amazing Discord community. Always happy to answer questions there. Or if it's a support issue, just hit up support@saasalerts.com and our team will jump on that and help you out that way too. Well, I hope you have a good one. Thank you so much for dropping in and spending some time with me. And I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.